Hey there, friends. Welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast. Today, I'm going to share with you some strategies as a retail owner, self employed business owner, all around human that might ever feel overwhelmed with paperwork and admin. And I'm going to give you some strategies and some thoughts on how to flip your mind on why it's really important and how it can save you some brain space, some money, some heartache, maybe give you more sleep with a few simple strategies. And if you've ever felt overwhelmed by the paperwork or you ever felt overwhelmed by all of just the admin side of running our business, I've got some strategies for you and a really kind of embarrassing story. So let's get to it. Running a retail business doesn't have to be so hard. Welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast, the go-to podcast for creative shop owners, studio owners, and independent retailers. I'm your host, Wendy Batten, retail business coach and mentor. Each week, I'll share simple, proven business strategies, inspiring stories from fellow retailers, and advice from industry experts. Together, we're going to work to find the success you want from your retail business with more profits in your till and a little more joy in your life. Okay, so lately I've had a lot of clients come to me and share that they're just overwhelmed with a lot of things. There's just a lot going on in retail in general, or being self-employed in general. We have a lot of paperwork. We have inventory, we have, mail piling up, we have just so much paperwork, right? There's ordering and payroll and invoicing and all the things that we have. And it's important for us to stay organized with that. And even the most unorganized person needs to be on top of this. And if not, what happens is it weighs us down, right? Hands up if you've got a pile someplace that you just know you need to go through or you want to go through, and you just keep putting it off because we're busy doing all the other things that we need to do. And that can wait, and that can wait. And maybe there are things inside that pile that you're just like, I don't want to deal with that right now. I just don't want to deal with it. So we put it off. And what is happening right now, and I'm going to share an embarrassing story with you in a minute, but what is happening to some of my clients right now is with all of the pandemic poo-poo things. And I say that because there's been just different grants and loans and a lot of things that have happened, and they have implications on our taxes and tax seasons coming up and all of the things that are happening. It's really important, if anything, just to have your money stuff organized, but also everything else, right? There's all kinds of things we need to be on top of as a self-employed business owner. It is our job. It's not arbitrary. It's not optional. We have to keep on top of our paperwork and of our business. So I have some strategies today, but before that, I want to explain to you why I feel it was important enough to talk about this in a podcast. And as you know, I love to give you action steps. I want to share stories, and I want you to understand why this is really important. And here's what happened to me. I had a collection notice come from the government, from the revenue agency. CRA is what it is here in Canada for me. And I had a collection notice. And actually, the truth of the matter is I didn't even open the mail. I saw the envelope come in. I was like, oh, that must just be like a regular statement that I get. And I threw it in the pile. I am normally on top of all the things. I have a bookkeeper. I have been very good at my paper trail stuff. But lately, January's been really busy for me. So I just sort of let it sit for a week. And then when I opened it and I saw that it was a collection notice, and I will explain what happened, a collection notice, I panicked a little bit. And I am a big believer in just, eating the frog, and we'll talk about that, but just doing the hard thing. But it was just kept getting kind of put aside for about a week or two. I put that letter and I thought about it. I worried about it. I wondered about it. It played on my mind. And I mean, goodness gracious, we don't have time to have things play on our mind right now. So, and I know better. I know better, but I didn't do better. So that's why I'm sharing with you, because it happens to everybody. And then yesterday I had a client that had a very similar issue, and, her paperwork was really behind, and she just needed to get some documents that she knows she has and all of the things. So here's what happened with mine. I did do it. I did call and organize it. It actually took me 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours of back and forth with it was literally a payroll number or a payroll account that I hadn't checked a box. And even the girl on the other end, she's like, well, this box is not checked for this employee. And I had to go back and pull some stuff out and whatever. And it was literally all pandemic related. It wasn't a normal business as usual thing, because of rebates that they were offering for payroll and yada yada and all the things. Just a simple thing, but it resulted in a payment due that I didn't notice and a collection agency, a collection notice from the government. It's all clean now. It's all good. Everything was fine. And she even said when I called, she was so kind and so nice. So I don't know why I was avoiding calling. I don't know why. And honestly, I could have paid the fine if it was a fine. I mean, it wasn't horrific. I just kept putting it off. So, we got it all organized. Everything's fine. But that was a reminder to me and then my client yesterday having issues, and then a lot of people telling me I'm getting through my paperwork, and being really on top of your admin side of your paperwork is so freeing. It's really important to do. So I'm going to share what my normal strategy is and how I normally stay on top of it, and what works for a lot of my clients as well. And here's the thing. Again, back to this, it's going to save you brain space from thinking about things. It becomes a habit. It becomes easy. Things are done right. Things are up to date. You're going to save money when it comes to things like late fees or fines from the government or whatever. And you're also going to sleep better. Like last night or the last couple nights before I made time and effort to call and get this sorted, it's been on my mind, and it's been, kind of keeping me awake and that kind of thing. And now it's all done. And I don't know why I didn't do that 2 weeks ago when I should have opened that envelope and just actioned it. So here's some strategy. And again, tax seasons are coming. It's going to save you time for audits. Opportunities come in as well. Things that happen in opportunities. We saw that again. Retailers that were super prepared for grants and opportunities that came in financially, that were prepared with the right documents at the right time, were first in line, and were quite, it was quite beneficial to them. We also have been seeing, and again, what happened to me, I'm calling it getting bit in the butt about some of these, the fallout, I guess, of any loans or any payroll subsidies or anything that you may have taken advantage of, which are perfectly legit and all of the things, but we have to have documents, we have to have everything organized. And I am seeing clients kind of getting bit in the butt a little bit with that as well too. So we want to make sure that our mail's not piling up. We want to make sure we're opening all our mail every time, every day, every piece of mail, and we have some kind of system where everything goes, one bucket, one pile, one something that you can organize everything. So how we stay organized, and how I train retailers inside my inner circle, and how I do it with, like, we run 3 businesses, so how we keep our businesses. And again, things fall through the crack, but I'm back on track, so things are all good. But building time into our schedule, into my calendar to do the paperwork. So for me, it has always been, used to be Sunday mornings when I was doing my own bookkeeping. I have since hired a bookkeeper because I took all of that off my plate and gave it to a virtual bookkeeper. And I actually talked with her on the Creative Shop Talk podcast here on episode 63. So I'm not going to go into all of the reasons why I think that we all need a bookkeeper. It needs to be our first hire, a trained bookkeeper, and how everything can go virtual now. And we have everything scanned, and we just scan and send, and everything goes into the magic hub doc, and it's wonderful. Virtual everything. We download statements, right? Everything can be done online now. It's so easy, and it can be good. So go listen to that episode if you're wondering about the benefits of having a good bookkeeper, virtual bookkeeper. But we still have paperwork. I still have things I need to do. You still have things you need to do. Again, back to the, invoicing documents and everything that piles up and we feel overwhelmed with. So having a good system in place, so whether it's a filing cabinet or however you're keeping track of your paperwork, the goal is to not have any paper on our desk at the end of the day. At the end of the week, I don't want any paperwork on my desk. Everything needs a place. So that is the first thing. You have to create some type of system so that you can grab and put your hand on a piece of paper within 5 minutes. So I want to mention just quickly that we all work differently. So what's working for me might not work for you. You might be all digital, you download, upload, keep everything in Google Docs, and you can get your hands on that in a minute. You might be a file folder girl or guy, and you need to think about how you work. My sister happens to be a organizer, professional organizer. And I, got her to come in one day and I thought she was going to show me the system, the way. And she's like, okay, show me what you do now and how it's working and what's not working, just like we talk about in everything else in our business. And, we kind of just amplified what was already working for me. So there's not one right way. So I want you to think of that, but you do have to have a system. Also building in time, like money. We only have so much money. We only have so much time. We don't want to go into a deficit with our money. We don't want to go into a deficit with our time. People that tell me, and myself included, I have to remind myself we have a finite amount of time. So there's so many hours in the week we want to work. I do not want to get back to working on Sunday mornings doing my paperwork. That's what I used to do. I never want to get back to that. I resented that. I didn't like it. I made the most of it, but so we have a finite amount of time. So if anything you can do, if anything you can take away from this podcast, I want you to understand that blocking time on your calendar, that is just like we've shared before here on the podcast about, blocking time for a CEO date, blocking time for family, blocking time for your admin side of your business. And I don't mean hours and hours. I mean like 1 hour a week is probably all you'll need if you stay on top of it. So I block Friday mornings, that like an hour on Friday mornings. That is, I do my admin work, I pay my bills, I go through my paperwork, I pull everything out, everything gets filed. I put my ordering away, like I put everything where it's supposed to go. I make sure that I do my receipts. I scan all my receipts, anything that I need to scan. Again, even though it's virtual, I still have paper receipts here and I need to scan them and send them off to my bookkeeper. I download, upload, do all the things that I need to do in that hour. And it is amazing how much we can get done in an hour. And I'm going to tell you something else. We budget an hour for that day. Or you might be 30 minutes, or you might have to be a little bit longer if you're just getting into a system, but budget a certain amount of time. I have a lot of clients who just do 30 minutes once or twice a week, and that's all they need, and they can keep on top of everything once you have something in place. This is a decision that you make to put a habit in place. So block that hour or 30 minutes or whatever you have, and set your timer or whatever you need to do. And when that hour's done, stop, and then you can move on to something else. It's just like your money buckets. If you only have so much money to spend on marketing, or you only have so much money to spend on merchandising, when that money's gone, that money's gone. So it's the same as do the best you can in the time that you have, and you will be amazed if that's all you're doing and you're not trying to multitask, that we're just getting all our admin done in that 1 hour. It's like a silly thing to say that sounds obvious, but if you're trying to do a little bit of admin while you're trying to order and while you're doing this and trying to bill pay and all the things, here and there during the week, that's when it starts piling up and that's when it feels overwhelming. Schedule some time. And I know you're busy, but if you start scheduling your time, I also, we talk about batching our work, all of our admin work at the same time every week if you can, even though crazy times, I know, but if you can find time, it is so empowering and you are going to feel so good. It is crazy how well that works. So I want you to give that a try. The second thing I want you to try to get in the habit of doing is when you have something like I did with my envelope that I opened up and then I was like, oh no, or I know I need to do this, or I know I need to make that call, I need to readjust. I know I need to call my insurance agent back, or I know I need to call the bank, or I know, those calls that you've been avoiding, or those things you've been avoiding, or we all have those. And I know you have something on your list right now. Maybe you need to contact your accountant to get something done, or, maybe you have to call the IRS or the CRA, or maybe there's a mistake on an invoice and there is, and none of us like conflict. Well, maybe some people like conflict, but most of us don't like conflict. We also don't want hassle. I knew today when I called that CRA person, I knew today that there was going to be like this, some kind of like work I was going to have to do, or I was going to have to answer to, or figure out, or whatever. And I did, and whatever, we figured it out. But don't avoid it. So if there's something on your list, and I'm sure there is, I want you to think about, I call it eating the frog. I mentioned it earlier, but I try to do that as early as I can in the week. I'm not going to wait till Friday. That's why I did it today. I knew on my schedule today I had a little tiny block of time that I could move around. I called that today because if I didn't, it was going to eat at me all week. So eating the frog is referring to doing a hard thing first. And I eat my frogs every morning. I always do the thing that's on my schedule that I really don't want to do. Sometimes that's going for a walk or exercising or whatever, but whatever's something that you just are avoiding or procrastinating about, eat the frog first. So looking at your schedule every day, if there's something that you're avoiding or it keeps moving over and over, let's get that done. Put it up to the top, get it done. I want to double dog dare you to do that. I think you'll feel so much better. And again, back to your brain space. I feel so much better. I know now like what it was they wanted to talk to me about. And I know how to fix it and I know where we're going. And it's like, it's not like I called them and they were horrible people to me, and I know there's conflict, but it's the same thing if you're trying to negotiate with somebody or do something, or you've been meaning to get around to something that's a little bit hard, that's going to either give you brain space or more money in your pocket, or let you sleep better at night, knowing, the answer, again, calling and doing hard things. So you can do it. I want you to really spend a little bit of effort eating the frog. Eat the frog first. That's what we say. You will feel lighter. I promise you will. The next thing, this is a once a month thing that I do now. And I kind of had slipped a little bit. And I mentioned this inside my Retailers Inner Circle just a couple of weeks ago. And I kind of like laughed when I realized, oh, I didn't do this myself. But checking up on your business documents, business accounts, once a month, at least once a month. You can do it more often if you're thinking about it. But here's the thing. If you have a PayPal account, if you have a, credit cards, business accounts, if you have your CRA accounts, this was the problem for me. I would have noticed it if I had gone in and just checked that business account, which I hadn't popped into. My bookkeeper files the things and the payroll company does the things, and I just didn't bother popping in and checking. Even though we have professionals working for us, even though, and again, nothing like my mind did everything right. It was actually me who didn't file a form that I didn't know I needed. We can miss things. Things can get misallocated. There can be fraud on your credit card. I have a client who had a whole PayPal fraud thing happening and didn't notice it because she wasn't really paying attention. So I just want you to take once a month. You can even write a little piece of paper down, with all your accounts on it that you might want to check in on, and just do a casual check. Quick check is what I call it, on your business accounts. And again, maybe that's, your Etsy accounts, your wherever you have income coming in and going, wherever you have money sitting, wherever there's something that could be going wrong. You might have other internal accounts as well too that you want to check on. I mean, that's a good business practice anyways, to check on at least quarterly. I mean, there's lots of healthy business checks that we should be doing regularly, but please check on your business accounts. Had I done that, and again, had my client done that with her PayPal account, we would have, avoided a lot of things. So it's kind of important, I guess. And it's this is not, a deep dive strategy session on how to run a retail business today, but I really hope that you take away the fact that you want to open your brain space. You want to get more money. I mean, make more money and sort of ease up that heartache. I call it heartache because it sits heavy on us sometimes when we're lying awake at night, worrying about that pile of paperwork that's sitting on our desk. So our strategy today is to get organized and sort of feel less chaotic about the hot mess that might be all over the place. I like to end the week. I do mine on Friday, as I mentioned. I like to end my week having everything filed away, checking everything, making sure everything's okay, and all the big frogs, all the frogs have been eaten, anything that was really heavy that I felt like I really needed to do, done. in the admin space. Again, admin, I don't want it to suck up all your time. And if we're on top of it, then you'll be able to put your hands on documents really quickly. You'll just feel good. You'll have control over your QuickBooks and control over your POS. You'll just have so much more control if you can just click, 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 and here's the work, and there's not a lot of paperwork around, and you've kind of got everything filed away in whatever filing system works for you. It will make you feel better. So I hope you found this helpful today. I really don't want this to be one of those podcasts that you just say it was, oh, fluff. I certainly don't want it to be fluff for you today, because it is important to stay on. It is part of our business ecosystem. It's part of our business that we have to stay. Admin is a part of our business that even if we have support, we have bookkeepers and accountants and all of those things, it is still ultimately our responsibility to stay on top of the mail and the paperwork and the invoicing and the filing and all of the things. And even if you have somebody helping you with that, make sure that that is part of your regular weekly routine. I hope you found this helpful, my friends. I appreciate your time, your attention, and I'm hoping that you're having an amazing week inside your retail business. So jump over into our free group called the Rockstar Creatives. If you are in there, we will continue the conversation. Share your tips with me. We would love to know. We'll see you soon, my friends. See you next week. Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm so glad that you're here to join us this week, and I hope you found value in what we're sharing here. I want to remind you that our website has all of the show notes. You can find it at wendybatten.com/podcast. Everything that you need to hear about today's podcast is there. Also an opportunity if you need to reach out to me. If I can support you in any way whatsoever, please feel free to reach out. Make sure you join our Rockstar Creatives Facebook group. We will continue the conversation over there weekly. So thanks for joining us. Please leave a review, subscribe if you can, and never miss an episode. We hope to see you back here again next week. Thanks, my friend. Have a great week.